we'll wait for a good chunk of people to join. That way I'm not giving the spiel.
Go. It may not be an hour and a half today. We're gonna go. Okay, it's too bad.
All right.
Don't make yourself sick.
Yeah.
I can't believe how much the grass grew. I was only here 3 days.
Yeah, I was just noticing our grass isn't as short as it normally is. I wonder if the landscape got skipped this week for some reason. I'm not here every day, so.
Next time I'm down, I'm gonna look for Steve. We got a dip where the trucks parked.
Oh.
Throw a bucket of that dirt and scoop it off.
Oh, there we go.
Never used to have dirt around. Now we have a lot of dirt. Maybe you can spare a little. Yes.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna let some people in here.
I don't know if Katie told you. I'm gonna pull some honey.
Yeah. All right. Good morning, everyone. Corey Thomas here with Massaro Community Farm. You're here for our beekeeping workshop with Ted Jones Apiary. We're gonna wait another couple minutes here for everyone to jump on. It is hot today, so we might not go the full time. We're gonna see how long we can go. As usual, please keep all questions to the chat function. And if someone could actually do me a favor and go to that chat function and just give write a quick hello or something, just so I know you can hear me all right, that would be great. Thanks, Tori. Appreciate that. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, Karen. Perfect. Just want to make sure the audio is working properly. They are. They're speedy. Let's see. What's our waiting room looking like? There's Poppy enjoying breakfast while we wait for the beekeeping session to start. It's gorgeous here today. Just very, very hot. All right. Excellent. All right. So for those of you who joined a little late, and we'll continue to let folks in, we're going to start off here this morning. It's really hot, so we may not go the full time. Please make sure to keep yourself on mute. Ask any of your questions via the chat function. Also make sure your video is off as we go. Lori, can you turn camera for full screen? Sure, that might be a feature on your end, Lori. I think you might have to change between gallery view and active speaker. But if other folks are having that issue, let me know. I think we have it set up how we normally do, but I want to make sure folks can see that. Oh. Sorry, folks, getting settled here. So if I turn the camera horizontal, that might just mean that the recording turns horizontal. Let me see if it adjusts. Oh, it does adjust. Perfect. Yeah, there we are. Perfect. All right, Ted, we are ready to go.
Good morning, everyone. Like you said, it's going to be a hot day here. My wife, Becky's going to help us out assisting. First hive we're going to check. This was a nuke we put back in like probably the 1st of May, if you remember. And I had a report from Katie Poole that it swarmed 3 weeks ago. So I haven't touched it. And we're going to go in today and just see what it looks like, what happened. Did it requeen itself? Because a lot of people have had swarming this year, and it usually takes 2-3 weeks for the new queen to kick in. So it's been about that time. So we're going to work on this one first. Then we're going to check on a package we installed in April 18th, I believe. I think we've almost got 2 boxes of honey off it. And we'll do an alcohol wash on that. And then if time permits, we're going to go to a wintered over hive and do an alcohol wash on that. Because from here on in is when you're going to start to see mites increase. So far, what I've seen, I've only seen 1 or 2 mites, but it's only a matter of time before it's the other way. So with that, we'll get started. Just so you know, I've been watching the hive. They're bringing lots of pollen in, so that's a good sign. The other thing I wanted to mention, because you all have bees, with this heat wave coming, they're probably going to, half of the bees will be on the outside, all bearded up. Don't think they're going to swarm. They're just getting out of the hive so workers can keep the temperature low, because you do have brood in there. So that's a normal thing for them to beard up on the side or beard up on the bottom. Probably by the end of the day, you'll see it. If not, for sure tomorrow. All right, so we're going to properly smoke right in the door. Let them know we're coming in. Nice cool smoke. Make sure it's cool. A little smoke in the top. And let them know we're coming in. And I got a back saver now. You know? The older you get, the smarter you get sometimes. So we don't have to set the bucket on the ground. So we're going to go in, take the honey boxes off so we can get down to the brood nest. And oh my goodness, they have honey. Let's take a frame out and show them what capped honey is. A lot of people ask what capped honey is. Here's a good example. This is empty cells or it's full of liquid. Here is capped honey. They've capped it over. It gets down below 18%. And they know when that is. And your percentage should be between 16.5 and 18.5. Above that, you run the risk of fermentation. Any questions? I'll just take one more out so you can see one that's a little more capped. There's the frame of fully capped honey. You see there's very few spaces. That's all solid honey, okay? That's ready to extract. Now, as a rule, I always say if it's 90% capped, go ahead and extract it. Don't worry about the uncapped part, because it'll all average out. But still, check your moisture content. So this was a nuke that we put in, I believe it was May 1st. Permanent markers don't seem to be holding up. Anybody know a good brand? Trouble. All right. So this box would be ready to extract if we were extracting today.
Lori's asking, how do we check the moisture content?
You have to get a refractometer. Most of the supply houses sell several kinds. Okay. Some are around $20 and you can spend up to $200. They have digital ones now. They're easy to read. The $20 ones you hold up to sunlight and there's a little prism and it's marked in percentages, and the light refractors and comes to 8%. There's a lot on the market. I think if you rent the club's extractor set, it comes with one. So we're going to take the outside frame first, correct? All right, this frame here is just full of nectar, some capped honey. Usually on the first 2 or 3 outside frames on each side is surplus honey for them, usually. It's all capped on the outside. You can see that. Now that's darker cappings because of the honey, the nectar source, but there's nothing wrong with that. So we're going to set that right here. We didn't see the queen. Now we're just going to go across. Okay, this is full of honey. There's an old queen cell right here, swarm cell. Not much left. They've been chewing it down. We'll just take it off. What I'm looking for is to see if this hive requeened itself. They're backfilling this with open nectar. In other words, here's that circle we talk about. This is the top half. Food in the corner, pollen, open nectar, or open cells for eggs. So they've been getting it ready. I guess what we want to know, are they getting it ready because the queen's there? Well, there's a messed up comb. What probably happened, this was when that nectar flow ended. And that's what happens. So what we do, we carefully make sure there's no queens on it. They're just putting honey in it. Here's some more swarm cells they put up here. And they've been used. You see we're here, there's still some left. Eventually they tear them all down, okay? So what I do, shake the bees off. Get your hive tool. Scrape it back. And ask them to do it over. And we got another frame here. What we'll probably do when we harvest the honey on this one, we'll put feed back on so they can finish drawing it. I mean, we don't want to be feeding when we have a honey super on. Okay, here's one they were drawing and they stopped. That's what happens with the honey when the honey flow stops. And I'm going to say it stopped around July, 1st of July, July 10th, depending on your area. How much clover is still left out there. We've had a drought. A lot of things dependent. So when we pull the honey off, we will probably start feeding this again to get this fully drawn out and hope for a fall flow that they can fill it up. So there's no brood here. No queen.
Lisa's asking, why is my hive tool bending as I try to get the frames out to inspect? Some frames I could not lift due to being so stuck with propolis. Any advice?
What kind of hive tool you have? It sounds like you got not tempered steel, maybe.
Okay.
It's okay for them to flex as long as they don't break. The secret is to get that first frame out, like I showed you. And when you put the frames back, you rack them all together tight, so there's a space on each side. And that gives you that little room to break the first one free. Once you get them broken free, they should come out rather easily, depending how often you go in your hive. So here's one here. They started putting honey in, but they didn't finish it because the nectar flow stopped. And here again, they did a bad comb and tell them to do it over again. Here they're drawing some out. Not very much. It's not like when there's a honey flow on. There's some fresh wax there. You know, it may pick up when the Japanese knotweed kicks in. We may have to go down below in the second box to find some eggs. We got to check thoroughly. I brought a queen, but I don't want to put her in if there's one in there. And they've had 3 weeks. You know, either they make it or break it. Here's a supersedure button right here. Everybody see that? Whoops, I just damaged it. Anyway, we're going to get rid of it anyway. But supersedure is always up in this area, just below the top. Here's another one. Here's another one. That doesn't mean they're going to supersede. They just seem to have them there. And what they'll do is they get the queen to lay an egg in there. So I'm seeing some young larvae. I'm looking for eggs. All right. Okay, so we have a queen in here. I don't think Corey's going to be able to get it. Got capped larva, then the ring is older larva ready to be capped, younger larva, and younger, and same thing over here. But when you get over in here, there's eggs. I don't know if you can see them in the bottom of the cell. Looks like a skinny grain of rice, very small. So the colony is queen right. I have eggs. So we're not going to go any farther. We don't really want to disturb them any more than we have to. So this hive did swarm, and they did requeen themselves, which is good. Now, I'll go against my better judgment. I'll take one more frame out, just looks like. If this was my hive, I would put it back together very carefully and leave it alone for weeks. We're in the process of building up.
Lisa's asking, I have a new hive, 3 months old, with 2 deeps. Upper box is 50% honeyed. Do we leave all this in the hive for them to use for the winter?
Second box is for the bees in the winter, yes. And you need to have 80 to 100 pounds or at least 8 frames full of honey. All right, here's what's going on. This is the next frame that she's already worked on. Okay, just look at that pattern. That's what a new queen does. That's solid, hardly misses. So we're well on our way to recovery. So this hive swarmed and recovered. We have a new queen in there. So we're going to put everything back together, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. They're well on their way. Now, with that type of population of new bees, they may start to draw wax if there's anything coming in. I notice there's a lot of clover on the farm here, so that'll be a good source also. And I just knock these off, get them out of the way. And hopefully they finish. You know, you see here they started and it's filled with honey. We may be pulling some honey here this week. And if we do, I'll probably try and do this one first. And we'll put a little feed on them to stimulate them a little more. Well, with that, we're going to close this one up if there's any questions.
Yes, let's see here.
Now, somebody will ask why we aren't doing a mite wash.
Someone just asked, how long after the requeening before you might check that hive?
All right, so we had a brood break, probably of at least a week, week and a half. So no brood, no mites. So I'll probably check it around the first, second week of August. So there's a lot of downsides to swarming, but that's the beauty of swarming. You're naturally breaking the brood cycle. When you do that, you break the mite cycle. Here we have, if the honey flow hits again, we had supered this up. So they are working on this. They're thinking about it. So, you know, maybe we're going to get a Japanese knotweed flow. Let's see. We got, you know, well, a month and a half, 2 months. We do kind of need some rain. Depending where you are, I know some parts of the northern parts of the states, they're lacking rain.
Someone's asking, what are your thoughts on adding a queen excluder along with the honey super?
What are my thoughts? Well, you can do it. I don't do it. If you want to do it, you can. I know a lot of people do. I know a lot of people that don't. I always say it delays them getting up there to build comb. It always takes them 3 or 4 days. The only time I would use a queen excluder is if you're doing cut comb or Ross rounds. Then I would do a queen excluder. Otherwise, we just put the supers on and they'll determine where they want to be.
Okay. And when you say feeding, is that sugar solution or protein bars or patties?
That would be sugars, 1-to-1. Towards the end of August, you're going to change to 2-to-1 so they don't have to reduce the moisture in it. You want to try and get those 3 combs that aren't drawn out yet. That's all. So they can draw it out and fill it with honey or syrup. You know, they take the syrup and then they change it into honey, but it's not really honey. Honey is defined nectar from the flowering plant. So that's what we want to do. Now, what we do sometimes We have outlying yards, or if you have an outlying yard, come end of September and you still got a lot of feeding to do, sometimes we'll feed, but we'll also leave a medium on with honey, like a reserve. Because if it's an outlying yard, you probably won't get in there in the winter. Just a suggestion. Along about middle of August, we'll start putting protein patties on though. And we dust them with probiotics, super DFM, strong microbials. That helps for a healthy gut. Bees' guts aren't as healthy as they used to be. Sometimes the pollen's a shortage of pollen, or it's not healthy. And like now, we got a drought going on. So we'll start doing that because we want to have healthy bees that are raised in August, September, and October, because those are your winter bees.
What are your thoughts on using horizontal hives?
Horizontal hives? I have no opinion because I've never done it. I guess, you know, they work. But, you know, in a bee tree, a bee goes up. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know. Warmer climates, they probably work great. I don't use them and I don't play with them. But I guess a lot of people are trying it. Nothing wrong with them as far as I know. So we just smoked the entrance. Now this was a package we installed on the 18th. And this, you know, there's controversy about Georgia queens, Southern queens. These packages came from Georgia. And yes, they're Southern queens, but I don't know. We got a box of honey here. I think they're doing all right myself. Now down here, the honey flow always seemed to end earlier. But we got a box and a half of honey. Well, maybe more than that. It's like, let's go in here quick while we're here. Show you some that they're working on drawing out. You see here, there's a little drone comb with a drone in the bottom on a honey super. No big deal. It's not the end of the world. What I want to do is just show you some comb that's drawn out. There's capped honey in here, soup frames that are full. Now what we did this year, and all our comb left over from last year at Macero, we put in 4 to 5 new foundation, trying to build out more of our honeycomb. You'll always hear the term, comb is your most valuable asset, because it takes the bees 8 pounds of honey to draw a pound of wax. So we did that here. We put 5 frames in, and they read the book, and they've drawn that out pretty much. They're still working there. Here you can see them festooning, so they're working on that. So that's good. So we got 5 new frames when we extract it. So next year, they don't have to draw the wax. They just got to fill it with the honey. It's a way of getting more comb. Now here they didn't finish this one, and they just started this one. So they're working on it. As more nectar comes into bloom in this second wave. Now, the second honey flow is going to be nowhere near what the spring and early summer one is, okay? Just realize that. Don't be disappointed. And some years, we don't even get the fall flow. So pray for rain.
So someone asked, with a new hive with 2 boxes, is it detrimental to not harvest any of the honey the first season and leave it for the bees for the entire winter?
Well, if all you have is 2 boxes, I would leave the whole thing for the winter. Like we say normally, and this isn't a normal year, when you get a new hive, first year is for the bees. You leave all the honey. This year is unusual. We had a very slow start. It was cool the first 2 weeks in May. Then the temperatures took off, 80 degrees. That's honey-making weather. And the bees did great. We had a tremendous flow. You know, in some areas, I have 5 boxes of honey on there. That's not normal. If we get 2 or 3, we're lucky. So don't think every year is going to be like this. You know, you never know till it's all over. But we'll take whatever we can get, on the other hand. So I'm going to take this off so you can get down to the brood nests. I'd like to do a mite wash. Makes a big difference. You don't bend over to the ground. I have a little smoke. So we'll see if we can find some brood up top. I like to take it where there's brood, especially emerging brood, because what comes out with new brood? Mites. Remember, they can cells. There's a solid frame of honey. Now we've got one frame out. We just keep going across till we see some brood. There's some brood. There's a nice frame. Got some honey there. All right, what I'm going to do is put it back in there for a second so some more bees go up. Get my setup ready here. So what we have is a Rubbermaid tub right here, quarter cup or a half a cup. With a quarter cup, it's 2 quarter cups. A half a cup, it's 1 cup of bees. Shake them into here. We have an easy check. These are great when they came out with them. It's a lot easier to do than 2 jars or screens and all that. And you have alcohol on the bottom up to the line. You have a grate that holds the bees. And we're going to shake them for about 2-3 minutes, and then the mites will end up on the bottom here, and we'll count them. Okay? All right, where's that frame? We're going to inspect it one more time because we don't want to take the queen. That would not be good. It can happen, so you got to be very careful. She's not going to be here probably because all they're doing here is filling it with honey, backfilling it. But we still got to check. Okay. So we're going to bounce the frame in here. I don't have quite a half a cup, but we're going to go with that. Once you bounce it in, especially in this heat, we get the frame back in there. If there were open larvae, you don't want to dry it out. Any leftover bees. So we're going to go shake them. It does kill the bees, but like I say, you take your pet to the doctor for a blood sample for the health of the animal. You take a sample of bees for the health of the colony. Without that, the colony will probably die from mites. When you hear colonies, they're doing great and they die in end of November, December, or beginning of January, 99% of the time it's from the mites. They never got to develop any winter bees that were healthy. So that's what we're doing. And the sad part here is right now we can't use Farmer Crow because it's too hot. So hopefully we get a spell where the weather's nice and we can treat if we have to treat. And doing this inspection allows you to hold off treatments, okay? Treatments are very expensive. So if you're below the thresholds, which is 3 mites per 100 bees or 9 mites for 300 bees, you're safe. But if I was approaching the threshold and this was the beginning of September, I would treat. because eventually it's going to go spike. The mites always spike in September and October because the queen stops laying a lot of eggs. So there's more phoretic mites on the bees, the adult bees, and that's what kills them.
We got a couple questions here while you're doing that.
Go ahead.
What are your thoughts on screened bottom boards?
They help. It's another tool,
Okay.
but you still have to monitor. You can't just put screen bottom boards on and walk away. You still got to go in there and check.
How do you store your comb over the winter and prevent wax moths?
Well, after I extract, I put them back on the hives on top of an inner cover. The bees will go clean it out and they'll keep the moths out. Once we have a first hard frost, then I stack them in a shed or I stack them next to the bee yard they came from and cover them.
Are you getting stung now as you go through these
No.
frames barehanded? And if so,
No,
does it activate?
Not yet.
Okay.
I may. It happens. The reason I go barehanded instead of wearing gloves, when you have gloves on, you feel like you're secure. You can do what you want, and you have a tendency more to be clumsy. Sort of bang things around. When you got your bare hands, you're going to go smooth, slow, and gentle. So that's how you keep the bees calm. These bees are very calm.
And they also asked, if you do get stung, does it activate the bees to go into some sort of attack mode?
Yeah. When they sting you, the area, a pheromone's emitted. It smells like bananas. And it's an alarm pheromone that alerts the other bees there's a predator in here or something and to sting that area. So when you get stung, remove the stinger and smoke that area. All right. It's going to be hard for you to see, but I only see 2 mites. So we'll take that. I don't know if you can show that or not. It's pretty hard to see.
Yeah, can't really see much of anything.
All right, I have 2 mites in here. I'm not concerned. I'm not surprised because this was a package. So they started out, they probably didn't have any mites or they had a few, if any. So that's good right now. So what we'll do, we'll write on the cover what the count was so we know when we come back. And we'll probably start doing alcohol washes every 2 or 3 weeks. When we go into a yard with 10 hives, we pick 3. Unless you got a lot of time and you want to do them all, nothing wrong, but that's the way they do it. They do 3 so you get an average, okay? And go from there.
And why can't you use a Formic Pro in hot weather?
Well, you got to read the directions, but what happens, it's going to evaporate too quick, and you could hurt the bees or the queen. Above 85 degrees, you can't use it.
And so let's say we had a high mite count. How would you treat in this heat, or do you just wait?
Well, I would use something that I can use in the heat. Apivar or HopGuard. But here's the thing with Apivar. You have to pull all your honey. You can't use it when you got honey for human consumption, okay? HopGuard, it's approved now, HopGuard 3, when honey supers are on. So you could use HopGuard if you had to. The efficacy on HopGuard, I guess, is 98% in the latest research. So that's good.
Is a Varroa?
I've ordered HopGuard and they're back ordered. So probably everybody's doing the same thing because it's hot all over the country. The other thing you can do if you want, you can cage the queen up for 3 days, 4 days. Biological means. You cut the brood down. But you still got to monitor your numbers. All these things that we do to knock the mites back, we still have to do a mite count because you got to know how effective you were. You could be getting infected from somebody in the area who doesn't do treatment, okay? And their mites are off the wall and their hives crashing and they're not paying attention. Guess what? We're sort of in a dearth right now. Your bees, if they find some honey nobody's protecting, they're going to go in there and get it. And when they go get it, they're going to bring it back all his mites or her mites. So you have to kind of be vigilant.
Can you use a Varroa sticky bottom board for a mite count?
You can get it for a sampling, but then I would do an alcohol. You can get an idea if you got a lot of mites or not. 24-hour drop, yeah. It's a good way to just test, but if I had 30 mites on a 24-hour drop, I'd be doing an alcohol wash. Because it's only a natural drop. It's not really accurate. But yes, it's another tool you can use if you don't want to do the alcohol. But once you get something high on the sticky board, then you would want to do an alcohol wash, or a powdered sugar will I prefer the alcohol. It's more accurate. You know, I could take the bees from the powdered sugar roll and put them in alcohol and get another 4 or 5 extra mites. So the alcohol is more accurate. That's what we want.
I lost a queen in one of my hives and now have laying workers. Is there any chance saving this colony, introducing a new queen now, or will they reject her?
How long has it been queenless?
So wait for Peter to get back to us to know how long it's been queenless. And someone asked, could you remove the honey supers, do an OA vaporization, and then replace the honey supers?
Yeah, I guess you could, but I don't know how long you got to keep the honey supers off. 24 hours, 48 hours? I really don't know. And remember, OA does not kill the bees in the cappings. Formic Pro goes and penetrates the cappings. Oxalic acid doesn't. And the other thing about some people are saying every 7 days do oxalic 3 times and you can knock them back. Well, there's research out now. When you do too much oxalic acid, you're damaging the exoskeleton of the adult bees. So be careful what you read. Look and see who did some research on it.
Peter says, I think I lost the queen about 3 weeks ago. There's no brood.
Okay, well, it's a gamble this time of year. On a honey flow, it's a lot easier. But if you got another hive, I'd make a nuke and then requeen it with a nuke, maybe. Or just pile the equipment on top. Shake the bees out and pile the equipment on top and protect your comb. Because when you have a laying worker, they're going to turn all that worker comb into drone comb. You don't really want that. It is hard to requeen a laying worker. I mean, we do it, but you know, it's not easy. But it can be done. If I was going to do it, I'd do it with a nuke. The other way you can do it is you buy a queen, but then you keep her caged up for 7 to 8 days before you, and then you you tape it up, keep the candy from being eaten for 7 to 8 days. Then you take the candy off, and try to put some frames of brood in there too, between the two. Put the queen in between 2 frames of brood if you have another hive. That helps, but it's not guaranteed. Okay. All right. Funny, on the 13th of June, we had 2 mites too. So I write on the cover, today's the 18th. I forgot to write on there. Stay swarm. Take it back for 3 weeks. 3 queen, doing good. I try to write on the cover what I find. All right, moving on. Okay. How are we doing on time there? Good.
10:11.
Okay.
And battery's looking good too.
Good. Well, that's a better thing.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. All right, this is a wintered over hive. We're gonna go inspect it. I'm gonna do a mite count. Oh, and we made a split off this hive once. Oh, yeah. So let's see what we got here. They like propolis, that's for sure. Okay, we got a box of honey here. So this one is wintered over, like I say. On the 14th of May, we did take 2 or 3 frames out for a nuke, split it. And that nuke is over there now. We'll go in there today. We raised the nuke to go. So we got 10 hives here now. All right, this is full of honey. And I hate it when they're up high. Okay, you see we broke open the honey. We'll put this back together today. When we come back tomorrow, that'll all be gone. We'll move all the honey out and strip the wax down. So now we're in deep. Now you notice the configuration here. I can tell you the history because I know I did it. We have a medium on the bottom. Last year, we had a medium full of queen cells and larvae and brood. We had it dead out here, so we threw the medium on the bottom board and then put a deep on top. Well, they grew all summer and they wintered over. So that's how we expanded. So we take the outside frame first. Very careful. Queen's usually never on the outside, but I found it there. And I've crushed 1 or 2 in my life by mistake. Happens. Okay, there's drone brood or whatever. No brood, just drone comb, and they're filling it with honey. So they're kind of preparing for winter in a way. As the days get shorter, the queen senses it and they'll slow down on brood production, okay? And when there's less brood, that's when there's going to be more mites on the adult bees. Here's a drone bee, right? You got fuzzy hair, big eyes. Look at the big eyes and a large abdomen, okay? And they can't sting you. So when you go to a fair and somebody puts a bee in their mouth and says, "See what I did?" We're doing it with a drone, trust me.
What's the latest time in the season you could reasonably make up a nuke for overwintering?
Well, you got to do it with a mated queen. Close the windows. They usually really shut down the end of October. So with a mated queen, you're going to probably get, if you did it now, you might get 3 brood cycles. And depending if it's on comb or foundation. Foundation is going to be trickier because they got to build the comb out before she can put eggs in, okay? So you're getting near the window. I mean, if we don't have an early fall, then you're golden. But if we get an early, you know, sometimes in November or October, we get cold weather the second, third week. We even get snow. When that happens, the queen usually shuts down, unless it's an Italian hive. They never shut down. It's just honey.
Someone's asking, what would you consider aggressive bees? I seem to be getting stung about almost every inspection every 2 weeks.
Yeah, how many times? I mean, are you smoking them properly? When do they sting you? When you're in there? At the end, the beginning?
Let's see what Zach says about that. Will you take that medium out at the end of the fall nectar flow if the colony has moved up?
If the colony's moved into it?
If they've moved up. Something like up and out of it? Is what they mean?
Yeah, I guess. Well, there's brood in there. I mean, a lot. Probably I would leave it. There's only a little bit. I would take it. What I usually do, because I bring a lot of colonies back, or a lot of honey back, I'll have a hive in the yard out back at the home. And if I have mediums and they got frame of brood here and there, I'll put it into an active hive on top, just so we don't lose the brood. If you saw brood in there now, eventually they would push the queen back down.
Okay.
You know, it's not a bad thing if it happens. It doesn't ruin the honey.
So Zach said, when I'm inside the brood chamber about 3/4 of the way through, I'm smoking the entrance and top.
Yep.
I'm still getting stung.
Well, when you smoke the top and go in there, it's only good for about 10, 15 minutes. You have to usually re-smoke if you're in there a long time. It depends how much manipulations you're doing. All right.
And Bill asked, can I use MAQS max right now this week in this heat? I'm not sure if you know. I don't know what that is.
I just said that, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But yeah, no, you can't use it. If you have it home, read the directions. Like I say, I'll tell you, but read the directions. Above 85 degrees, it's a no. And even 85 is pushing it, okay? So unfortunately, we can't use it at this time of year. So no matter what you use, always read the directions. You can use Apivar, but you got to pull your honey supers. Boy, this is a solid deep of honey. 100 pounds of honey here. All right. Grab me right behind you. There's an empty deep. Grab that. No, on the right. Yeah. This is every frame is solid honey, all cap. So there's 100 pounds here. So what I'm going to do to lighten the load, I'm going to take half of them out. The old days I would pick it up, but I got to hang on to my back for longer, you know? So we're going to remove half the frames. Young guys can pick these right up like hope not. We're going to take them out. The queen shouldn't be here, but we'll do a quick scan anyway because it's all honey. There's nowhere here for her to lay.
Someone asked, I've been saving my propolis. What can I do with it?
You can use it for a lot of things. I don't do anything with mine, but I know people that do. In Italy and Poland, they make a tincture out of it. And if you went and Googled it, propolis tincture, there's probably 100 recipes on what to do with it. To dissolve it. It has a lot of medicinal purposes. But Google it. There's a lot of, what is it? What's the Apiaries? What's their website?
Apitherapy or bee sting.
Google apitherapy. That's a group of people. They do bee stinging. They use propolis, medicinal things for honey, and propolis. And they have a lot of recipes on there. And they're based in the U.S.
And someone else is asking, do you use fume boards or anything else to clear bees from honey supers?
Depends what I'm doing. I use fume boards if it's warm enough. I'll use a backpack blower. I use fume boards. I used to use Vigo, but that stuff stinks. And if you get it on your clothes are ruined. So last 3 years, I've used Kelly Beekeeping solvent. It smells like vanilla. And you know what? It works great. As long as it's warm. If it's cooler, then that's not going to work. It doesn't vaporize enough. So I've taken 5 frames out now. I think I can handle it. Oh, yeah. So there should be some brood down here, I hope. Okay, make sure the smoke stays cool because it's hot out today. You gotta pull an outside frame. Looks like there's more room over here. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. I have a friend, believe it or not. He's a commercial beekeeper, and his father always tells me to produce honey, all you need is a medium and a deep. Now that proves their theory. The deep on second deep's full of honey. But here's the thing. Up north, you still need a deep of honey on top. They go down south for the winter. But he's right about that. But I prefer to run two deeps. So the deep's always full of honey.
What do you use for firing your smoker?
Oh, anything that burns, really. It smolders. Paper, cardboard, the trays you get when you pick up coffee. They put the coffee cups in the tray. That burns good. Pine needles, grass, hay. No plastic, though. And whatever you use, you don't breathe the smoke, right?
And how do you decide when it is appropriate to take honey from a hive rather than leaving it? What are the deciding points?
Well, what did I say? The second box has got to have about 80 to 100 pounds of honey. That's the big deciding factor right there. So if your deep is full of honey and you've got a medium full of honey, you could take the medium if you want. Some people, they rig up a scale. Go to Mike Palmer's website, YouTube. He shows you how to make a scale the way your hive if you want. But after you've been doing it a while, you know. If you look in there and you got 10 frames of honey, you know you're good. And you can judge the weight. All right, we have a frame of brood here, all different stages. And some drone larvae. I'm looking for the queen. I don't see the queen. One more time. All right, I think we're ready here. All right. We got 2¼ cups. That's a half a cup of bees. Supposed to be 300. Let's see what's going to happen here. Here, you want to shake that, please? All right, we're going to put this back together. We found eggs and larvae, so there's no need to go down any farther. If you want to, you can, but every time you go pull the hive all apart, I mean, I know beginners like to. It takes the bees 2 or 3 days to get back into everybody in sync. We disturbed them enough already, but we just got to do a mite count, and that was our goal. Any questions on the mite count?
Any questions on mite count?
No questions?
No questions yet.
All right, we'll see what our count is. Any mites? Okay.
Check it too.
Give it a little swirl too, like. Yeah.
How often would you do a mite check from now until December?
Well, if I did a treatment right now in this hive, 14 days later, I would check it, see how efficient I, or what the efficacy was. In other words, how many mites did we kill? Did it help? Well, you know, every 3 weeks, I would say, because you just think, you know, 21 days takes for a worker brood to emerge, correct? So 21 days, you should see it go up or go down. But yeah, I would always try to do a wash before I treat. Okay, you know, some people, they just say, oh, it's end of July, let's just treat. Know what your mite count is. You know, some of the bees here, they're VSH now. They're varroa sensitive hygiene. They may control the mites on their own. You just got to make sure you're controlling the mites.
What breed of bees do you find are easier to deal with and are productive?
What was that again for?
What breeds of bees do you find that are like easier to deal with, productive?
Okay, I'm very partial to New World Carniolans and Minnesota Hygienics. Most of our hives, 90% of them are New World Carniolans. Productive. New World Carniolans, the only problem is if you crowd them, they're going to take to the trees. So you're going to ensure you always give them room. And that goes with any really, but they're more prone to swarm. As soon as that queen gets crowded, boom, they're going to think about swarming. If you give them plenty of room, you should be fine.
Last year,
They winter over a lot better than the Italians.
Okay.
Carniolans can winter over in a smaller cluster and survive.
Someone asked, last year I checked mites in July and it looked great. Then in September, they exploded and no amount of treatment worked well enough. I
Really?
vaped and used mite away quick strips. I lost 3 or 4 hives by March. There was plenty of stores.
Okay, so when did they explode again?
Wait for Fred and Fab to get back to us. Someone else asked, if you decide to requeen a hive for whatever reason, when's it best to do it? Early spring or early summer?
Ideally, it's requeen it on a honey flow, you know, or early spring. You don't have as many bees to contend with. Later in the season, make a nuke. Make a nuke in the middle of June and requeen it with a nuke. You know, find it. Because you got to remember, when you're June, July, you're at your peak population, so it's going to be a lot harder to find a queen.
Okay. So Fred got back and said September to answer your question.
Back in September, it exploded. Okay. So that means all the bees they were raising in August and September, up to that point, probably were compromised if the mites were overloaded. He got hit by a mite bomb, probably robbed out a hive. It had mites in it, and it was crashing. If he couldn't keep control of it. What was he using for treatment? Just a mite away?
I vapped.
Oxalic acid?
That might be it.
Okay, well,
yes.
like I said before, that doesn't penetrate the capping, so you're always going to have mites. And if you do it too many times, you can damage the exoskeleton of the bees also. So you have to be careful on what you use and how you do it. Read directions. Almost sounds like the mites got ahead of them, which can happen, especially if you're not penetrating the capping. So if there's a lot of mites in there to begin with, that means there's a lot of female mites under the cappings laying eggs. So you got that thrust coming out. Yes, what's the results?
I get 12.
12? Okay.
And it's called the Varroa Easy Check. someone that asked what the container was called.
Yeah, we got plenty of them at the house. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. We got 12 mites here. Okay, this was a wintered over colony, and that's what I've been telling people before. Wintered over colonies, you got to keep an eye on them. So the threshold is 9. We're at 12. So we've got to do something sooner than later. Okay, what we'll probably do here, we'll pull the honey this week and we'll treat them with Apivar, which is Amitraz. I can't seem to get a hold of any hop guard. Amitraz is a 42-day treatment, so it doesn't penetrate the capping. So at 42 days, you had 2 brood cycles. It'll knock them back. Amitraz works very good. It's not temperature sensitive. It works in cold weather too. Sometimes what we do, if we do find mites on the borderline in October, we'll go in and put Amitraz in for a cleanup, just to knock off the phoretic mites. So that's what we're gonna have to do here. So 12 is, yeah, we got to do something. Any questions?
Tori's asking, in my second deep, my outside frame is empty. The bees don't seem to be building comb on it. Can I move that outside empty frame towards the center?
Yeah, put that dead center. In other classes, we've talked about it. Maybe he didn't make them. They never like to, on foundation, never like to draw the outside combs. So when all the rest of them are drawn, pull the outside and drop them in the center and force them to draw.
All right. Another question. New beekeeper with 2 full deeps. I added a new deep a couple weeks ago, but no comb building on the new frames. Any suggestions? Should I add a feeder, move a honey frame up, leave it alone?
Is this the second box or the third box?
Added a new deep a couple weeks ago, but no comb building on the new frames.
If it's your second box, feed it. Because you need carbohydrates to draw wax, and the honey, like I say, the honey flows.
Third box, they said.
Third box? Well, if you don't want honey, feed it and get the comb drawn out. You can winter it over in 3 deeps. Make a strong hive. Just be careful and watch your mite counts. You know, you go through all that, you don't want it to crash. So I would feed it. If it was like beginning in May, they would draw that out eventually. Okay?
All right. And one more. Once winter comes, do you keep your electric fence activated?
Yes, I do, because the bears wake up in December, January, and February, whenever it gets warm.
Hmm.
Our bears don't go in deep hibernation like they do up north. We got a different bear here. They never seem to go into a deep sleep. So yeah, I don't want to risk the chance. And snow's an insulator; it won't short the fences out. We also keep them baited in the wintertime too, so when they go looking, they get a good licking.
All right.
All right.
Oh, got one more. What's your protocol to get the bees off the supers when you pull them for Amitraz treatment?
I would use either, fume boards or a backpack blower, blow all the bees out.
Okay.
Put the honey on another hive if you have it, or just extract it. And I don't know why. I guess there's a shortage of hop guard. That's why I can't get it. Otherwise, I would just treat this with hop guard. I can leave the honey supers on.
What do you use to bait the bear fence?
I use bacon.
Oh, they said we've been using bacon.
Some people use sardine cans with sardines in them. Some people use aluminum foil with peanut butter.
Do you bait it all the time?
All the time, because there's new bears in the neighborhood all the time. They have young bears, and they got to learn the name too. The drill.
And when you treat, do you add an empty honey super for space?
Yeah, with formic acid, it recommends that.
Okay.
Or just an empty box to circulate the air. Yeah, like I say, whatever you use, read the directions. Very important. And if you use the same thing last year and you use it this year, read the directions. Might have changed.
I smacked the mites out on top.
Huh?
Looking for them to see
Oh.
what it might look like.
Oh, okay.
You see the
Right in the
mites.
center there.
There we go.
There you go. There you go. That helps.
Perfect.
Good
Thank you.
shot.
Yeah.
That's the critters. That's our nemesis.
So hard to see them.
See, the trouble with high highs, the last box was on. It's not fun. Some serious honey here. All right.
Does it matter which hop guard I use? There's hop guard 2 and hop guard 3.
If you can get out of the hop guard 3 is better. I believe it has more efficacy.
Okay.
Does a better killing.
Once you extract the honey supers, do you add any boxes at this time of year for space? Or is it time to let the bees prep themselves for winter?
I throw the extracted supers back on so they can clean it.
All right.
It keeps the wax moths out. They may put honey in it, they may not, depending on the flow. You got the magic marker?
And is there ever a problem leaving too much capped honey frames on the hive?
No problem. I mean, some people never take the honey; they just leave it. But you know, you got to take some honey off to give them room to lay and cluster.
Would you feed in the gap before goldenrod blooms?
Yeah, if you want, take your honey supers off and feed in the stimulator to get the population back up. Because with no honey, no nectar coming in, she will slow down a little bit.
Okay.
You know, a lot of people do that.
And do you wait until the fall flow to take frames off and harvest?
Well, we're all out of frames, so I take it off now so we can make room. You know, some people wait till the end. Normally, I wait till August. I can pull the honey and do my treatments at the same time. This year may be different.
And
I know down here it is because we're all out of honey supers.
with this high heat, what can I do to cool the hive off other than using a screened bottom board?
Just give them water. They cool it off with water. Have a water source for them. Usually
Like
50, 70 feet from the hive. Or right in the bee yard. We have pails here with water, rainwater.
And there's also a large
And, you know, they'll
little
go find
pond down
water.
that
They
way.
use the water to cool the hive. That's what they do. We got time for one more?
It's 10:41. We've got 13% battery. We're feeling good.
I'd like to do the nuke that we installed last time.
All right.
Where?
Ah,
Which one?
that one over there.
Like that one. I might be able to plug in the iPad. This one right here, right?
No, this one on the right.
Okay. I might grab the charger just so I can reach now.
Okay.
Just 1 second, folks. Hate for the battery to die on you.
We need to set everything up towards where he is.
Ta-da.
Nobody complained if they couldn't see it, did they?
No, but it makes it hard for
Yeah.
them to run around. We're going to reconfigure and do the alcohol roll toward you.
I'm
instead
not
of-
doing an alcohol roll here.
Okay, so just
Oh.
move this. But next
Yeah.
time, we will make sure
Okay.
we do it the other way.
Got some cleanup crew over here.
Yep. Probably some got squished. Okay, we're checking the hive. This is a nuke we raised here. I think we took brood out of that hive down there. 2 frames of brood and a queen. And I brought it back to one of my bee yards. And 3 foundation. So we raised it for a month and we put it in. Installed on June 13th. It's a New World Carniolan. So we're gonna go inspect it. So we're gonna smoke the front. And I believe we were feeding it. So we may have to refill the feeder depending what they did. You got bees. So what we did when we put the second box on, we had some drawn comb. So we put that on the outside so we don't have to worry about them not drawing it. I only see a couple frames drawn here, so we'll have to put some more feet on before we leave. I'm going right in the middle because I can see the foundation. Okay? Okay, nothing there. So we just want to make sure we got a queen in here and she's laying. Okay, they've been storing nectar and sugar in here. They're drawing it out. No eggs yet. So when we put this next gallon on, they should finish the top off. Wow, no eggs here yet.
Couple quick questions. How do you know for sure that we're in a dearth?
Well, you can see no nectar coming in.
Okay.
Watch what they bring in. If you see a lot of open nectar in your comb, you know that they're bringing honey in.
And someone mentioned using a type of feeder you have there, but they said they're having problems with leaking. Is there anything you can do to prevent that?
Yeah, the cover's not on right.
Okay.
I'll show you in a minute. All right, I got eggs right here. So this is hatched out already, and now she's expanding. So we're good. We're not going to disturb them. But we will give them another jar of syrup. So somebody said about not leaking. Your feeder leaking.
Mm-hmm.
Got to be careful. When you put the cover on, you got to turn it backwards and then turn it down like that. If it doesn't go on like that, floating, you're cross-threaded. And that'll allow the air to get in, okay? Remember that.
And what feeding ratio would you use for nuke here?
1 to 1.
1 to 1.
We want them to draw wax and raise bees. I wouldn't put an in-hive feeder in here because they're going to gorge themselves and she'll never have a place to put eggs. We want to build this population up. So we use 1 to 1 with small holes. Huh? I can't hear you.
You need feed?
Yeah. Gallon, please. And they plug the holes up. I'll have to get a nail.
First unplugging the holes in the feeder. Get some.
Here's something you can make, pretty simple, a piece of wood, put a nail in it. So when you run into plugged up holes, you just shove it in there, clean it out. It's a size nail, you don't need a big hole, okay? String on it so you don't lose it. All right, put this back in. Now I'm gonna show you how you put these feeders on. Very easy. For this type of application, they're great.
Do you make one-to-one or buy it commercially made?
I do both. This year I couldn't, they wouldn't let me have more than 25 pounds of sugar at Costco. I usually buy 600 at a time. So I went to Main Lake and I got 400 gallons of liquid sugar. So. And now I'm spoiled. Feels good not lifting those bags all the time.
Do you have issues with mice, small rodents, beetles?
Oh, yeah. Everybody does. You know, we got mouse guards on all the hives here, if you notice. Are they on the front there?
Yep, the metal, right?
Yeah. We used the metal ones because we found after a while the mice figure out how to chew food.
And what about beetles?
Hive beetles? I see them once in a while, but you know, a strong hive can hold off 5,000 beetles. A strong hive. Beetles are opportunists. When they sense a hive's in trouble, that's when they move in. So you keep your hive strong. We do have queen banks, 2 queen banks at home. We do run beetle blasters in those in the second deep to trap the hive beetles. Because sometimes they're busy taking care of the queens and they don't take care of the hive beetles. Okay, what I do with this, the cover's on right, okay? So I turn it up. It's gonna stop. See, it's stopping now? Okay, now I put it over the hole. It's already drawn a vacuum. When you fill them right to the top. If you only fill it halfway, it's got to displace all that air. And yeah, a lot's going to leak out. All right. Now we had 5 frames left to draw, so I'm not going to put anything else on. Put this on to prevent robbing. And that should last them 7 to 10 days. And that'll stimulate them to start raising more brood. So I'm going to write today's date, 18, 20, 20. We found the eggs. I write good. That means they're expanding and fed. And that's it for them.
All right.
Any other questions? We're out of time.
Yeah. Any questions? I think we're
burned here.
we are burning here. We're getting toasted up.
Like I say, check your mites. You know, especially beginning August 1st, I would start checking. If you need mite treatments, order them now. I'll put a plug in. I do sell Farmington Pro, the 2 packs for hobbyists if you need them.
All right.
Otherwise, order because everybody seems to be backlogged, back order. So you don't want to need them August 10th and you got to wait two more weeks. You know, stock up ahead of time.
Excellent.
That's it.
All right.
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Any other questions? Or
I think everyone's good. We're getting lots of thank yous and good demos.
okay.
All right.
Excellent.
Excellent. Yeah. Well,
Thank you for being here today on this hot day.
yeah. All right. Well, thanks everyone. What we're going to do is I'll follow up with you via email, just like the one you got last night. I'll send you the recorded demo here. And also in the email, I'll include a link. If you enjoyed the workshop today, consider donating to the CT Beekeeper Association. Also keep an eye out on Massaro's website and social media. We'll be posting more workshops live from the farm in the coming weeks. So have a great weekend, enjoy the beautiful weather, and hopefully we will see you next time.